Holy smokes, guys. XPeng stock is up a whopping 32%. I mean, like, holy crap. And also, NIO is up 9% as well. What happened? Of course, there was this big deal. Volkswagen investing $700 million into XPeng for 4.99% of the outstanding shares at $15 a share for XPeng stock. And then they're going to develop two B-class battery electric vehicles under the Volkswagen brand. And that's slated for production by 2026. And of course, we're going to talk about why NIO is also a prime target for such a strategic collaboration / investment from one of these big auto companies. Check out our sponsor, Daily Lab. They make really nice in-car luxury scented fragrances. Use my code MRP15 for 15% off. And you get 2 bonus gifts. But first, a little bit more about the XPeng deal. What is going on? It sort of shows a desperation move, I think, because really what's happening is we're seeing that Volkswagen's pure electric vehicle sales aren't doing that well, and then XPeng's EV sales actually aren't doing that well either. So instead of both of them kind of dying down and being killed off by Tesla or something like that, it's actually better that they join hands together and fight together. And this is what this deal sort of signifies. So why is NIO actually a prime target for such a strategic investment? I think it's actually a much better strategic investment than any of these other guys. And I think Mercedes is going to be the one that's going to do this kind of strategic investment into NIO. We've known that the CEO has met with William Li, NIO CEO, in a private meeting. We don't know what they talked about. There was a possibility that Mercedes EVs were going to be using NIO's battery swap network, but it could also be possible that they were also discussing a possible deal like the one we're seeing with XPeng and Volkswagen. And why do I think it's very important for Mercedes to invest in NIO to do this kind of strategic investment as well? It's because Mercedes' EVs just aren't doing that well. They're pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, the sales numbers completely overtaken by BMW's EVs. And I barely see any Mercedes EVs on the street. I've seen like 3 max, like just ever. I've only seen like 3 max ever. That shows how rare Mercedes EVs are. They've just completely did not do a good job with the EVs, and also Audi's EVs, and you don't really see a lot of their EVs either. Completely dominated by these Chinese brands, BYD, and also Tesla and NIO and all these other guys. And we've seen in the previous one of my previous videos about the market share that NIO has in the luxury EV segment, and NIO has like a 27% market share. That is absolutely insane. And you know, the other guys, Mercedes is classed in the other category, and together with a lot of other EV brands, they don't even make up 24%, which is pretty crazy to think about. And also why I think it's very important to invest in NIO for Mercedes to do this strategic collaboration is because NIO's infrastructure is amongst the best. Number one charging brand for a auto company. All right. Remember, NIO's primary focus is cars, but their NIO Power Network is so good and it's so vast, and there's chargers everywhere that they've become number one. Right. Most chargers for a auto company. All right. And their chargers are so well strategically located, and this is something that I kind of didn't want to talk about. I guess it should be talked about. So a EV owner, a non-NIO EV owner, was going to Xinjiang, and you guys know what Xinjiang is all about. It's on the very western side of China. It's a very long road trip to get there, and chargers are very scarce over there. You don't really find that many chargers. NIO has a couple chargers that are strategically placed at highway rest areas, and it's basically a must charge at those areas if you want to get to Xinjiang. It's basically compulsory. You have to charge there, basically. But what NIO has done is, because NIO puts NIO owners first, NIO sets a time limit, a restricted time when other EVs aren't allowed to charge at those chargers. So it's something like lunchtime and also in the evening. You can only charge at night or during the morning, that kind of stuff for these other EVs. And one of the EV owners, I'm not going to say which EV they own, they didn't specify, but probably YD, yeah. And they went to that charging station. They wanted to charge, they couldn't charge because, you know, it was during the restricted hours, and he was just mad pissed about this and just saying a lot of mean stuff about NIO. And obviously everybody, every NIO owner, a lot of other people came to the defense. Why didn't your company build chargers, right? Your company sells so many EVs, much more EVs than NIO. Why don't you guys tell your company to build chargers over there? Where is their infrastructure? Instead of hating on NIO, and NIO is actually nice enough to let you use the chargers during certain hours. Why are you hating on us when you could just go to your CEO and tell them, why don't you build chargers? So this was this has a whole big debate going on in China, and I guess this is actually the perfect opportunity to tell you about that, and it shows how critical NIO Power's infrastructure is to all EVs in general, all EVs. And we've known quite a while ago, Ford actually partnered with NIO just to use NIO's charging network, just for the charging network. So just the charging network itself is worth partnering up with. So I really think Mercedes, they could possibly just, and I think they should, ditch their EV efforts. I mean, it's just not working out, and then do a strategic collaboration with NIO somehow, and then produce EVs together and allow that, and also, like the Volkswagen deal of XPeng, have it under the Mercedes brand name, and be able to use NIO's battery swap as well, and also NIO's chargers, and that way NIO actually earns more money. Isn't that awesome? So yeah, I think that should be a very, very good deal that NIO might actually happen. It might actually happen. Fingers crossed. I hope it happens. And I'm sure Mercedes wants a piece of the pie in terms of the luxury EV segment, and they don't want to be left behind. I mean, looking at their sales, it's just completely. And if they're able to do that, NIO can share some of their technology, some of their good stuff, and that might make Mercedes EVs actually worth buying. And every single EV that Mercedes makes in this joint app with NIO will get some money. And obviously Mercedes has much bigger reach, and it doesn't have to be like you don't have to have battery swap stations in NIO houses. So Mercedes can take these EVs and sell them in other countries like the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Africa, all these countries where if NIO were to enter, NIO would have to build NIO houses, build swap stations, build service centers, and it would be a very problematic and high capital expense to enter those countries. Whereas Mercedes, with their dealership model, they could just bring those cars there and let the dealers sell them. What do you guys think about a possible strategic collaboration with Mercedes? I think there's like a 60% chance of it happening. Actually, I'll put it at 70% chance of it happening. What do you guys think? And also, who else could NIO possibly partner up with? Who else do you guys think will partner up with NIO? Also, don't forget, let me know what you guys think. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.